Is my screen visible to everyone and I'm audible to everyone? Is my screen visible to everyone and I'm audible to everyone? Okay. So today we will be starting with this question number 90 and we'll go till question number 100, where we have passage based question, like two comprehensive passage will be given to you based on the subject. Just give me a minute and I will come back. Okay, so we will proceed with these questions starting from question number 91. Right, so we have first this a comprehension given based on the passage given below. Answer the question number 91 to 95. So first five questions will be on based on this passage. So let's have a good read of this passage first, and then we will decide one by one how it goes, and you should keep marking the things here out. So basically this passage, among the most interesting technique for analyzing the Earth's climatic history or on a scale of hundreds to thousands of years, are the study of ocean floor sediment and oxygen isotope analysis. So these are the technique like sediment analysis and the oxygen isotope analysis. Both methods are used in reconstruct the past temperature, and each is a part is related to the other. The seafloor sediment contain the remains of organisms that once lived near the surface. When such near surface organisms die, their shells slowly settle to the floor of the ocean. That is true, where they become a part of the sedimentary record. One reason why seafloor sediments are useful record of worldwide climate change is that the number and the type of organism living near the sea surface changes as the climate change. This is also true with change in climate. The number in the organisms do change. Then we would expect that in any area of the ocean or atmosphere interfere, the average annual temperature of the surface water and the ocean would approximate to that of the continuous atmosphere. Then the temperature equilibrium established between surface seawater and the air above it should be mean the change in the climate should be reflected in the change in the organism living near the surface of the deep sea. Then it says that the second technique, which is oxygen isotope analysis, is based on the precise measurement of the ratio between two isotope, which is one is O16 and O18. So we have two isotope oxygen, O16 and O18. Okay, so O16 and O18 is there, which is the most common and the heavier O18, because the lighter isotope O16 evaporate more readily from the oceans. This is important point, that it evaporates more readily from the ocean. Precipitations and hence the glacial ice that in the May form is enriched in O16. So it will evaporate faster and then precipitate. So that's why we said that glacial ice, which is there, which is supposed to be formed from this, may be rich in O16. Of course, the levels. Of course, this leaves a greater concentration of the heavier isotope in the ocean water. So because O16 was more, right? So that's why, because it will evaporate more, so that's why we will having O18, right? More concentration in the oceanic water. This has to be remembered, because one get evaporated, the lighter one and the heavier one will be more in the ocean. Then it says that thus during periods when glaciers are extensive, when glaciers are extensive, the concentration of O18 in seawater increases. That is true. Conversely, during warmer interglacial period, when the amount of glacial ice drops dramatically, the amount of O18 relative to O16 in the ocean water also drops. So that is also true, because lesser evaporation will be there, because lesser ice, lesser precipitation. Certain microorganisms secrete their shells of calcium carbonate. The prevailing O18 to O16 ratio is reflected in the composition of these hard parts. Consequently, periods of glacial activity can be determined from various variation in the oxygen isotope ratio found in the shell of certain microorganisms buried in deep sea sediments. A second use of O18 to O16 ratio technique is the application to study the core taken from the ice sheet, such as the one that covers Greenland. Here, another cause for variation in the oxygen isotope ratio is used, namely the ratio influenced by temperature. Yes, more O18 is evaporated from the ocean when temperatures are high. So, in higher temperature, it will also evaporate, and less is evaporated when the temperature are low. So, that fact should be also be cleared in your brain, that if more temperature, more O18 will be evaporated, and lesser temperature, right? When the temperature are low temperature, less will be evaporated. Thus, the heavy isotope is more abundant in the precipitation of warm eras. Absolutely right, because the temperature is high, and less abundant during the colder period. So this point has to be clear also in the brain. I hope we make some sense while we were reading this passage. And now we will have to answer these questions which have been given there, and this have been taken basically from the climate change chapter of Gilbert, right? So now we will answer one by one these questions, and let's have a look at the questions first. So first question say, consider the following statement regarding the ratio O18 to O16, and they are asking which statement is correct. Second question says, which of the following expected during the warmer period, right? So that you have to see. We have read this passage. Then assertion region question is there. Then we have considered the following statement, again true, false, and then which of the following statement are correct. So these are the 5 questions which we have to answer. So we'll start one by one. So question number first, as we read the passage, the question number 91. Okay. It says, consider the following statement regarding the ratio of O18 to O16, means heavy isotope to that of light isotope. So it is asking you what? It is asking that it is greater than 1 in oceanic water. And it is asking which of the following statement are correct, right? So you can see that it is greater than 1 in the oceanic water. It is not making any sense, right? It is greater than 1. So if you see that oceanic water ratio of O18 to that of O16 is saying greater than 1. Is it possible? Is it possible for it is to be greater than 1, means O18 has to be more than O16? Is it possible? Oceanic waters. Is it true? But as is it mentioned somewhere in the passage? Let's go back. Whether they have mentioned about more than 1 and less than 1. Here they have not mentioned about the ratio. So you can see here. Here you can see oxygen isotope analysis based on the precise measurement of ratio between two isotopes, which is the most common and the heavier one, because the lighter isotope O16 evaporates more readily from the ocean precipitation, and hence the glacial ice that is may form is enriched with O16. Means precipitation, evaporation wise O16 will be more, right? Of course, this leaves a greater concentration of the heavier isotope in the oceanic water, right? And it is saying it is greater than 1 in oceanic waters. Though the statement is true, but unfortunately, the examiner have forget to cover these options, right? And then it says that during this period when glacier are extensive, the concentration of O18 in seawater increased, right? When glacier are extensive, the concentration of O18 in the seawater increase. Conversely, during warmer interglacial period, when the amount of glacial ice drops dramatically, the amount of O18 related to O16 in ocean water also drops, right? So if we read this statement, then it is not fitting, the second one, right? And we have to adjust this on the basis of the passage, right? So first it say it is greater than 1 in the oceanic water, right? So it is somewhat correct if we read the first statement that it is greater than 1 in the oceanic water. But the moment you read the second paragraph, that during the period when the glaciers are extremely, it says it is less than 1 in the glacial ice. So ideally both A and B should be correct, but the option given by the agency was B, if I am not wrong. So ideally it should be both are correct, but the because they are saying which of the following statement are correct, but the answer given by the agencies are B. So second was the given answer as per by the NTA. Is it clear that how you have to identify, because both the clues are there, right? So second is the correct answer, which is given, it is less than in 1 in glacial ice. Less than 1 in glacial ice means says that O18 to that of O16 ratio is less than 1, means in the glacial ice you will have more O16. That is clearly written in the passage. Is it clear to everyone? Is it clear? Ideally it should be both the statements should be correct, A and B, but the agency have given only B as the correct answer, right? Might be they forget to give, or they just pick up the one, but both the statements are true according to. See, directly mention karna ya na karna is not the correct thing, because there will be questions in this passage only where you will get the hint. Yes, directly nahi mention kiya hai, but still it is concept wise true. But as the agency have given yeah, greater than 1 hota hai, but they have taken only second as a correct option. So it's a bit debatable question, but nevertheless fine, we cannot argue with the agency. Now yes, this can be one of the reason, might be people have not chosen it because we cannot generalize it. It depends upon the time period. एक जो possibility है, ठीक है, एक जो possibility है वो ये है, because we have not been told the period, right, when glacier are extensive, right, कि कब वो बढ़ेगा. अगर ग्लेशियर एक्सटेंसिव होंगे, इंटरग्लेशियर पीरियड में वार्मर होगा, कि वो कोल्डर पीरियड होगा, कैसा होगा. That is one of the doubtful situation why we have not taken A, right. So B is perfectly 100% true, but if you come with a time period, like you can see here with the time period, yeah. So you can see here they have mentioned about the time period. When the glacier are extensive, the concentration of O18 in seawater increases. Conversely, during the warmer interglacial period, when the amount of glacial ice drops dramatically, the amount of O18 relative to O16 in water also drops. So this is the line, right? This is the line where we have variations, right? And you can see here that they are not fixed ratio. The ratio influenced by temperature. More O18 is evaporated in the oceans when temperature are high, and less is evaporated when the temperature are low. So they have not mentioned anything like heavy isotope is more abundant in precipitation of warm eras and less abundant during the colder period. So era or the period have not been mentioned. So that could be one of the reason why we have not chosen one. But otherwise, in general, that statement is also true. Is it clear? No, second में तो clearly they have mentioned. Second में they have clearly mentioned. Second में they have clearly mentioned. In the first line itself, you can see here it is. Here it is. They have mentioned. To isotope 16, which is the most common, and the heavier O18 because evaporate more readily from ocean precipitation, and hence the glacial ice that may form be enriched in O16. So second to statement clear है एकदम that O18 to O16 it is less than 1 in glacial ice. So glacial ice में क्योंकि O16 ज़्यादा होगा ना, right? So evaporate more readily from the ocean and precipitation, and hence the glacial ice that is may form is enriched with O16, right? So of course this leaves the greater concentration of heavier isotope. So that is less than 1 for sure, right? क्योंकि glacial ice के केस में तो ये ज़्यादा होगा. Is it clear? So the correct statement here is like 100% true is second one. It is less than 1 in glacial ice. Though if we don't bring the concept of cold era and hot era, then the first statement is also go true. But here the agency have given the option as 2. Is it clear to everyone? So that we can move on to the second question. Okay. So that depends upon the logic. So you have to read the passage carefully. Sometime it happens. Right. Now let's move to the question number 92. Okay. Question number 92. So again, it says that which of the following is expected during the warmer period. So as we have read about this warmer period, so warmer period you can go back and have a trace. Here it is written. You can see here. When the glacier extends, the concentration of seawater increase. Conversely, during the warmer interglacial period, when the amount of glacial ice drops dramatically, the amount of O18 relative to O16 oceanic water also drops. So this will drop, and here also heavier isotope is more abundant in the particular warmer eras and less abundant during the colder era. So both the lines will give the answer, right, of this question number 92, right. So it says that higher O18 to O16 in the glacial ice as compared to that of the cold period, right. So you can see that expected during the warmer era. What is expected? So during the warmer interglacial period, when the amount of glacial ice dropped dramatically, okay. So higher O18 to O16 in the glacial ice. So O18 का concentration बढ़ रहा है ना, because you say that the heavier isotope is more abundant in precipitation of warm era, right, and less abundant during the colder period. So here also they have seen that during the warmer interglacial period the amount of glacial ice drops dramatically, and glacial ice में तो O16 होता है. The amount of O18 relative to O16 in oceanic water also drops. So the inverse is true, right? And hence you can choose the answer easily. And third statement, which is there, higher O18 to O16 in the glacial ice as compared to that of the colder period. तो ये तो क्लियरली बोला ही है कि O18 ज्यादा होगा वार्मर पीरियड में, और कोल्डर में क्या होगा, O16 ज्यादा होगा. सो एज मेंशन इन द पैसेज. ठीक है, तो third is the correct answer, higher O18 to O16 the glacial ice as compared to colder period. Is it clear to everyone? Third is the correct answer. Third, higher O18 to O16 in the glacial period as compared to colder period. Is it clear? Anyone having any doubt? Any candidate having any doubt in this question number 92? Please feel free to ask. Okay, now let's move to the next question based on this passage, which is question number 93. Yeah, this is the question, and this is basically the assertion reason question. So given two statement, one is called assertion, other one is reason. So first, seafloor sediments are useful records of worldwide climate change. This is true. The statement was there in the passage that these seafloor sediments, even in the first initial lines, that seafloor sediments are useful record of worldwide climate change. It is there. Yes, yes, this is correct. Ritambra, this is correct. Right. Then the second thing, organism living near the surface of the deep sea are sensitive to variation in water temperature. Absolutely true. With change in temperature or with change in climate change, their concentration changes. It is written in your passage also. So both are true. So first is the correct answer. Both assertion and reason are true, and R is the correct explanation. So seafloor sediments are useful, and living organism near the surface of deep sea water is sensitive. Variation to temperature. That's why these seafloor sediments are useful in the recording of worldwide climate change. So both the statement are true. Explanation is true. So first is the correct answer as per our passage. So anyone having any doubt in question number 93, the correct option is first. Anyone having any doubt in question number 93? Any participant? Anyone? Okay, now we will move to question number 94. If nobody is having any doubt in this. Yeah, again, it's the statement type question. Question number 94, consider the following statement and then choose the correct option from the given below. So we have to choose the correct statement. So first statement says what? The average annual temperature of the ocean surface water is close to a temperature of contiguous atmosphere. Yes, it is true. It is given in the passage. This line is there in the passage. We can revisit this line if somebody thinks it is not there. So it is there. We would expect that in any area of the ocean or atmosphere interface, the average annual temperature of the surface water of the ocean would approximate to that of contiguous atmosphere. So this is given there. So this statement is true. It is given there, right? Then the second statement you can see, change in the climate can be estimated from O18 to O16 ratio in the calcium carbonate shells of organism. This is also there. one can revisit and see. It is there. Microorganisms secrete their shells of calcium carbonate. Prevailing O18 to O16 ratio is reflected in the composition of these hard part, right? So we can do that. Okay, so that can be seen. It is there. The second statement, change in the climate can be estimated from O18 to carbonate shells. Then third is O18 to O16 ratio in warmer period is less in ocean as compared to that of colder period. So this is absolutely true, right? If you talk about overall ratio, because क्योंकि जो वार्मर पीरियड होगा उसमें तो ये ज्यादा नहीं रहेगी, ठीक है? सो ज्यादा नहीं रहेगा ना उसके अंदर, तो O18 to O16 ratio in the warmer period is less in oceans as compared to that in the colder period. So it have been clearly mentioned in that line where we said na, this line. You can see here it has been mentioned. Thus the heavy isotope is more abundant in the precipitation of warmer eras and less abundant during the colder periods. And it is written here also. The period where the glaciers are extensive, concentration of 18 seawater increase. During the warmer interglacial period, the amount of glacial ice dropped dramatically. The amount of O18 relative to O16 oceanic water drops. So warmer it is less and colder it is more. So in the warmer period it is less. You can see here. In the warmer period is less in oceans as compared to that of the colder period. So this is also true. So first statement true, second true, third true, all are correct. So fourth is the correct answer where A, B, C all are correct. Anyone, any candidate having any doubt in this? Anyone about question number 94? Clear? Because we have to discuss them in deep, because your understanding should be clear with respect to what have been written as a passage. It's not like just to, because they sometimes they require more understanding, right? So this was there. Then let's see the next question, which is 95. So this is the last question of this passage, question number 95, belonging to first passage. Again, it's a statement wise question and it is asking which among the following statements are correct. Okay. Then it says that water molecule with O16 evaporate more readily from the ocean. This is true. This is there in the passage. Because it is a lighter isotope, it will evaporate more. Right? We have already seen that, and it will evaporate more and it will precipitate. So it is there. So water molecule with O16 evaporate more readily from the ocean, and you can see this because it should be connected to the passage. Yeah, it is here. The second technique, oxygen isotope analysis, based on the precise measurement of the ratio between two isotopes, which is the most common O16 and heavier isotope O18, because of the lighter isotope O16 evaporates more readily from the ocean, and precipitation and hence the glacial ice that is may form is enriched with O16, right? So that is there, that it evaporates O16 more readily from the oceans. It is clearly written here, this line actually, right? So one statement was this. Then the second statement was water molecule with O18 are found in greater concentration in glacial ice than in ocean. This is absolutely wrong. This is have been written reverse, right? So O16 actually. Greater concentration of the heavier isotope in the oceanic water. Water में ज्यादा होता है वो, right? Glacial में तो O16 ज्यादा होगा. It have been mentioned here. And hence it glacial ice that may form is enriched with O16 क्योंकि evaporate ज्यादा हुआ है ना. Oceanic water में तो O18 ज्यादा होगा. So now we can revisit our question. Yes. So you can see here the first statement, water molecule O16 evaporate more readily than from the ocean. This is true. But this statement, water molecule with O18 are found greater concentration glacial ice. This is absolutely wrong. Glacial ice में तो ज्यादा O16 होगा. ठीक है, glacial ice में. As per the information. Then in the ocean, right? So this is absolutely wrong. So one statement is correct, which is A. So the correct answer is A only. Is it clear to everyone? Anyone having any doubt in this? See, that depends upon the examiner. We cannot comment whether they will give it the passage or without passage, but one need to understand the passage well after reading for like 5 to 6 minutes, and then they have to mark, right? So that is the thing, and better one should read the question first whenever you get such kind of question, so that your eyes should be stick to those lines, right? Is it clear? This question is clear. This passage is clear to everyone till 95. Anyone having any doubt? Okay, now let's we move to the next part. There is another passage. Yeah. So now first we will, so again there is a passage which is a comprehensive passage, and which is based on the other passage, and based on the passage given below answer the question 96 to 100. So 5 questions more given in this passage also. So we'll start with this. So first we will read the questions quickly. First question say the solar radiation flux irrespective of the wavelength band in this is same from Earth's surface up to. So this is one of the question. Then ozone's absorption UV radiation in stratosphere is maxima at. This is one of the question. Then which of the following UV radiations combination occurs most on the Earth's surface in comparison to others? Right. So this is one of the question. Okay. Then the lowest contribution to solar constant at the top of the atmosphere from electromagnetic radiation is in. This is one of the question. Which of the following statement is not correct? UV radiations forms as well as destroy ozone. UV radiations only destroy ozone. Ozone depletion cause ground level UV radiation. UV dissociate oxygen molecule to form oxygen. So now we have a good read of the questions, and now we will read the passage carefully. Ozone and ultraviolet radiation are inseparable. You cannot separate them, right? They have been like joined together for the formation and destruction. It takes UV photons from ozone from oxygen and UV photons to release the chlorine from CFCs to destroy ozone. Ozone depletion cause ground level UV radiations and environmental hazard. Yes, the ground level UV is an environmental hazard because they are harmful for human being. The wavelength of electromagnetic radiation that is visible to the human eye and photosynthetically active for plant lies between 400 to 700 nanometer. That is true, which we call as PAR. Wavelength below 400 nanometer is ultraviolet, are invisible to the unaided human eye. The UV region is conventionally subdivided into UVA 340 to 400, UVB 280 to 320, and UVC 200 to 280. Right, or less than 280 you can say. Natural UV is supplied exclusively by the sun, which radiate energy as a black body with an effective surface temperature of 6000 Kelvin. This is the core temperature of the sun. Outside the Earth's atmosphere, the total solar radiation flux density is 1367 watt per meter square. Sum total of the visible and IR, this much, UV, this much, UVB, this much, UVC 6.4, close to the top of the Earth's atmosphere, right? The spectrum is essentially extraterrestrial by an altitude of 40 kilometer, right? Then ozone absorption has already made a significant difference, reducing the flux most around 250 nanometer, because the correspondence to the center of the absorption band, right? Center of the absorption band at 250 nanometer. Then the next line says that at 20 kilometer above the surface, photon flux is almost same as the surface value except for the residual peak at 200 nanometer. At this level, the UVC is effectively eliminated, although UVB is attenuated. Attenuated means hota hai weak karna. UVC source flux increase towards the blue, and ozone absorption band weakens toward 300 nanometer. Both the influence combine to give a significant UVB flux, which is very sensitive to small shift in ozone absorption. Now we have to answer these questions which are given there. So let's take one by one. So the first question says that 96. The solar radiation flux, irrespective of the wavelength band, is same from Earth's surface up to. So I have seen it 2 times, the number appears. So I have to search, yeah, this is here. So at 20 kilometer above the surface of photon flux is almost same as the surface value except for the residual peak of 200 nanometers. So we got easy passage in this. So it is 20 kilometer is the correct answer, which is easily got through the passage. Is it clear, everyone? Question number 96, it is mentioned in passage. Is it clear? Anyone having any doubt in this? किसी को कोई डाउट आ रहा है? ये मेंशन किया हुआ है लाइंस में आपकी, right? So you have to search, just read and search. The second questions. Now let's see the question number 97, right? So the 97 question says that ozone absorption UV radiations, ozone's absorption of UV radiation in stratosphere is maximum at. So you can know that stratosphere we get ozone layer, right? And it is saying that ozone's absorption of UV radiation in stratosphere is maximum at. So which UV radiation is absorbed maximum? And it is mentioned in the passage, right? You can see here. Yeah, so it is mentioned here. Ozone absorption has already made a significant difference, reducing the flux most around 250 nanometer, because that corresponds to the center of the absorption band. So it is the like in the literature also, you know that 250 nanometer is the absorption maxima of the ozone. So 250 nanometer it absorbs maximally, right? So 250 nanometer is the correct answer, right, as given in that option also, right? क्योंकि उसमें अगर आप देखेंगे जो यूवी का रेंज है, तो मैक्सिमली तो उसमें बी और सी एब्जॉर्ब होगा, तो 280 से 200 से लेके 320 तक है, राइट? अगर मैं इसको 500 भी मान लूं या 520 भी मान लूं, तो इट विल बी 260 अराउंड, राइट? So one option is there. So 250 is the correct option, right? 250 nanometer is the correct option as mentioned in the passage also. Is it clear to everyone? भाई उसमें क्वेश्चन में क्या पूछ रहा है ये तो आप देखो पहले, मनीषा लोचाब जी. ओजोन्स एब्जॉर्प्शन ऑफ यूवी रेडिएशंस. यूवी रेडिएशंस को कहां पे मैक्सिमा करता है? स्ट्रेटोस्फेयर में. तो आपको बताया ना कि जो यूवी बी है एंड यूवी सी है, वो दोनों एब्जॉर्ब होंगी. तो यूवी सी इसमें दे रखा है आपको 200 से लेके 280 तक, राइट? यस. तो इसमें अगर मैं ऐसे भी देखूं 200 to 280 और यहाँ पे 280 to 320, तो अगर मैं इसकी रेंज ले लूं दोनों की तो ये है 200 से 280 तक, तो 200 से लेके 280 तक है ये। तो इसका जो बीच में आएगा कहीं पे तो वो अराउंड 250 के आसपास ही होगा। ठीक है, वैसे भी पीक जो होती है, ठीक है, ओजोन जो एब्जॉर्ब करती है मैक्सिमम 250 नैनोमीटर ही करती है, ये आपके लिटरेचर में भी मेंशन है। इज इट क्लियर टू एवरीवन? मनीषा लोचाब, इज इट क्लियर? Anyone having any doubt in this question? Question number 97. Is it clear, Manisha? Now let's move to the next question. Question number 98, it says what? So if you see the question number 98, it's a good question. And you can see here. So it says, which of the following UV radiations combinations occur most on Earth's surface in comparison to others? Right. So अर्थ के सरफेस पे मैक्सिमली which of the following UV radiation combination occurs most on अर्थ सरफेस? सो आपको ये बात तो पता ही है कि जो अर्थ के सरफेस पे है जो UVC है वो तो आपका कंप्लीटली एब्जॉर्ब हो जाता है। अर्थ के सरफेस पे जो आता है वो सबसे मैक्सिमा आता है UVA,